Hey, it's Matt, your Frontier friend. Today we're taking a look at Manus. This is a AI platform that I've been using probably for the better part of a year. I have the Pro plan, and I think it's one of the most unsung or undervalued platforms that are out there right now, especially in a lot of productivity work and a lot of research work. But with Codex recently announcing, or ChatGPT, OpenAI, recently announcing their Sites feature, which is, at the time of this recording, only available on business or enterprise plans. It's not my Pro plan. I can't test it out yet. Yeah, a lot of folks saying like, oh, that's the Replit killer. That's the Lovable killer. And I'm here to say that Manus has been doing that since I've been using it now, again, for the greater part of a year. And I'm going to show you this website that I've already built. It took about 15 minutes to build this. I had some issues recording it, so I'm just going to show you the end result, but then talk about all the other stuff that really positions Manus to replace the Replits and the Lovables, potentially even the Codex Sites of the worlds, as this stuff gets better and better. I will say the big caveat here is I make a living in open source WordPress world. I am still not advocating for an all-inclusive stack to host websites in LLM systems like Manus, simply because I don't know what's going to happen with the technology. I don't know what's going to happen with the price points of LLMs, and certainly with Facebook kind of acquiring Manus. Like, I don't think that deal has actually gone through specifically, but you just never know what's going to happen in these all-inclusive tech stacks. And you could say the same for like a Replit and a Lovable, especially when their secret sauce, literally the engine that drives those companies, are the frontier models like ChatGPT, who are now competing against them. So we've seen this time and time again in the tech world, right? Everyone opens their doors, everybody come in and start absorbing our technology. And as soon as that there's like this critical mass, money needs to be made, we start figuring out, okay, who are we shutting out? And how are we monetizing this platform? And famously, we're seeing Anthropic do that by closing out a lot of the subscription accounts to get access to other tooling. Okay, all of that aside, I built this with this simple prompt. I want a landing page for a small business general contractor in the Northeast. They specialize in service like home remodels, repairs, windows, doors, decking, and more. I like a quote form that allows the visitor to input their project contact details, saving it to the database. So I went through the whole thing, again, 10, 15 minutes. It gave a whole like checklist of things that it was going to do. I thought it did a fantastic job. It built a quote form, and we'll walk through that in a second. And what Manus does is gives you the entire stack to not only develop and design the site, but it gives you access, obviously, to the file system, to the database, and then you can host the site and do more stuff that we'll take a look at in a moment. So it wasn't like a perfect design, but I don't know. I'd give it a A-, B+, if you were being really critical. Yeah, generally a lot of these AI sites are starting to look the same. We don't know what that means for the market. We don't know what that means for the customers. If you're somebody who consults building websites for people, like, what does your customer say? Do you tell them it's AI? Do you work a design system with the AI to say, like, here's the specific design system that I want to use, sort of like what Claude Design does? But you can see right here, we have these two call to actions buttons, and they're sort of touching the, what I'll call the feature section of 20 years experience, 500 completed projects on time and fully licensed and insured. Manus gives you this edit inspector tool, which you can click into. You can describe a change. For some reason, it doesn't work when I describe this change, but let's just say we need more margin below the buttons. And I'll go ahead and apply that. Let's just see if it works this time. It wasn't working for me before. Oh, there it is. And now it's prompting it. Before, for whatever reason, it wasn't working. So now it's just going to go ahead and inspect that one section that I just inspected. I could have done manual tuning right there, but I just talked plain English to it. It's going to locate the hero buttons and apply the margin and fix it manually. You can see our code here as it does all the changes. I don't know how long this will take, but it shouldn't take too long. Let's just give it one more second before we, through the magic of Hollywood, edit this time gap out. All right, it looks like it made the change. I did edit just real quick. It was about, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 seconds, something like that. It added some spacing on mobile and on desktop, as it tells me, and it gives me some other ideas for a few next steps worth considering. Replace placeholder business details, add a project photo gallery, connect a real phone number to the call to action. These types of recommendations, I see this across the board on all platforms, no matter what you're doing. If you're asking a search question, if you're designing an app, if you're building a website, it's always prompting you with more. A couple of reasons why. They want you to stay on the system. They want you spending more money, more tokens. They want to be in the environment. Yes, some of the stuff is really cool and powerful, but it will keep iterating on a system, and that's either good or bad. You're either going to spend more time and eventually make something more complex than you originally wanted, or you'll run out of tokens fast. Manus is fairly expensive, and when I say fairly expensive, it's from the plan that I have, which I believe is Pro, is $40 a month, or you pay yearly with a discount, and it goes through the credits pretty fast, much faster than I would spend on my Claude Pro plan at $100 a month. Okay. Built it, looks really cool. Let's go behind the scenes of this website, and we can just take a look at the different features that Manus has. So we have the code inspector, the file inspector. This is where we can see the code that was written. We can understand what happened here. There's a README, so it'll explain everything that it did. So it is a coding environment. I mean, I don't know any other way around it to say that. I'm not going to look at the dashboard just yet. I'm going to look at the database. So I specifically asked for a database in the backend so that I could save my contact forms right into my database. So we can see it right here. We have my contact form is in my database. This means now that I can do more stuff with the contact data from the contact form in Manus, which really starts to extend what a person can do with a website, whether that's you as a client consultant or you as the end client who are trying to build this stuff out. Let's go to the file storage. So we just have 2 images that Manus made. By the way, this picture is really freaking good. This is a sweet looking house, super highly detailed. It's almost a 4 megabyte file. And they did use, or Manus did use ChatGPT to make the photo. I am noticing some little weird things happening like right here on this light and around this window. But otherwise, man, it did a great job on that standalone image. And let's go into the settings, because this is where the magic of an all-inclusive hosting stack really starts to shine with Manus. So I can obviously name my project, and I can publish this with a temporary URL, like with anyone with a link or with just people that I invite. It's going to give me a standalone sort of like temporary URL that has manus.space as the domain, and there's a little made with Manus flag on the front end of this stuff. This is what you're going to get if you built a free site with Wix or Squarespace, although I don't know if Squarespace does it free anymore, but you're always going to have like that tag made by like GoDaddy's free platform or whatever. But I can also customize the domain. Let me go into that right here. Well, we can go manage access, and we can customize the domain, and we can buy a domain right here in Manus and attach that right to our site, which means we're hosting the site in Manus. Now, I don't know if Codex Sites is doing that, but to me, what Manus is doing, that's the future of like what all these platforms want to do. I mean, Replit and Lovable do that now. It's how they make their money. They have the money for designing and building the sites, and they make their money by hosting. Manus is just going to be your catch-all everything AI, and including hosting. And when you enable that hosting, now when you access the dashboard, you have stats. I mean, the stats are built right in. I'm not having to attach Google Analytics or Fathom, which is what I use on a lot of my WordPress sites. It has the analytics right inside of it, which also means that now I can just query against those analytics and build my own custom reports with the AI agent here. It's really interesting if you're a client consultant and you know what it's like to maintain and manage and consult on websites. Really interesting stuff, which Manus is doing. Let's go back to the settings. I can do all kinds of more like advanced stuff, copy the project, all that other stuff, buy the domain, notifications. I can ask it to set up automatic notifications, maybe when somebody contacts me. By the way, it already does that. When I tested this out, it sends me an email from Manus that says somebody did submit a contact form. But I could do other stuff. I could have it notify me for a spike in web traffic, a potential referral if I'm doing some kind of ad campaign. I can integrate this with Stripe. So now I can quickly build out payment forms for customers, which is really interesting. They have a whole SEO section, which if I enable this, now I can do SEO on this site. I'm actually interested to run a site out of Manus now and just see how well it performs from an SEO and hosting perspective, just to really push the throttle down on like what these AI platforms are doing versus what I normally do, which is stand up a WordPress site on a hosting environment, bring in my own analytics, optimize it with a WordPress SEO plugin, and do all this other stuff. Even if you're doing Astro and you're generating websites using Cloudflare, which I do a lot as well, this is all just making it so much easier. It's just right here. I'm not having to think about that stuff. And I think for the right client and the right project, this might make sense. Secrets, this is if you're connecting up to like other APIs, webhooks and stuff like that. If you're building an application, you'd have your secrets section. GitHub Connect, obviously super important if you want code revisions on your website that you're building, especially if you start getting into client work. You definitely want to do that. Put things on a schedule, like you can automate all kinds of things that was just a lot more convoluted for client sites in the past, like a year ago. Now, a lot of the stuff, again, I'm an advocate for WordPress and I love the open source side, and I love the fact that I can mix and match a technology stack. And while all this stuff is great, you always have to take this with a grain of salt that it is inside the Manus platform. So if pricing goes up, token usage goes up, they change the way that SEO works, potentially for whatever reason, other AI LLMs are not ingesting content from Manus because it's a competitor. I mean, there's a lot of things at play here, which I know is like an old school way of thinking, but the old school way of thinking brought the web to where it is today. And this AI stuff is just accelerating a lot of changes pretty fast. Really cool stuff. And now it says a bunch of other things like I could build out a dashboard now for this client to visualize all those contact forms, right? So now if I wanted to create them a lightweight CRM or like sales dashboard, I could do that. I could do it pretty quickly and pretty easily. It's really powerful stuff when you think about it. And then you have the whole totality of the rest of the Manus product, right? So if you want a platform that is for research and tasks to run your business and do your general business stuff, I think Manus is really good. I use it for a lot of project research that I do, any kind of long form research with lots of data. Manus does a great job at it. It's one of those things that I don't see enough people talking about. Whereas your Lovables and your Replits they're for that app building, website building portfolio, but it doesn't have all the other features that Manus has as what you would consider a frontier lab, if you do consider them a frontier lab. That's what I have for you today, building inside of Manus a website/application where you don't need a Replit or a Lovable, maybe even a Codex sites. We'll see when I get access to that. Thanks for watching. It's a Frontier Friend. If you like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you want more. Leave a comment below. I'd love to know what you're doing with AI and servicing clients or building your own sites or applications. Let me know in the comments below.